Welcome to UHMCC. This video pertains to all paid UHMCC teachers' aides, kitchen helpers, and interns. This video covers a few logistical things you should know prior to starting. The Hawaii Information Portal, or HIP, the state's payroll system, applies to paid teachers' aides and kitchen helpers. This section does not apply to interns. After you've been established on payroll, all UHMCC employees are required to set up their HIP account. Make sure to bookmark the portal as it is a vital component to being employed. Your HIP account is very important. This is where you designate who you want as your beneficiary in the event of your death. If you do not designate a beneficiary, all unpaid compensation will be paid to your estate. You must indicate your federal and state tax withholdings and your tax marital status. You will have access to your W-2s for federal and state tax filings after you've given consent to view it online. Failure to give consent will result in W-2s being mailed to you. UHMCC highly encourages you to give consent for online access, as this drastically reduces the chances of you misplacing it or it getting lost. You can access your past pay statements in the event you need to provide proof of income. You can update your current mailing address. This is very important if you are terminating your employment with UHMCC. Your HIP account will only be available for 120 days after terminating. The address on file here will be the address the university uses to mail you your W-2 after you've left the system. UH requires all employees to set up direct deposit. Once you have successfully entered and submitted your direct deposit information, it may take 1 to 2 pay periods to take effect. Until that time, you may pick up your paychecks in the office. Next, we will cover signing in and out and our staffing sheets. This section applies to all paid teachers' aide, kitchen helpers, and interns. In the office, there are 2 clipboards you should look at upon your arrival. The first is a sign-in sheet. It shows you the hours you work for every day that week. Initial under the time when you arrive and again when you leave. If you have a 30-minute or 1-hour unpaid break, it will be indicated for that shift. Initial under the break time to acknowledge the break. If you arrive late or need to leave early, you should be writing in your actual time. If you arrive before your shift or stay after, we do not pay you for your time unless you have gotten prior administration approval to extend your shift. Only the UHMCC administration staff can authorize your extended shift. Teachers cannot make this authorization. If you see a blacked out area, it could mean one of 2 things. It could be a holiday or school closure where you do not need to report to work, but more often than not, it is the end of the pay period falling during the week. The new pay period will be reflected on another sheet. If you work 4 or more hours and less than 6 hours, you get a 15-minute paid break. This break is optional and does not need to be indicated on your timesheet. Talk to the classroom teachers you are with for the day to find the best time for you to take this break. If you work for 6 or more hours and less than 9 hours, you are required to take a 30-minute unpaid break. This break needs to be indicated on your timesheet. If you do not indicate it on your timesheet, it will be adjusted for you. If your break time is not indicated on the staffing sheet, talk to the classroom teachers you are with for the day to find the best time for you to take this break. If you work for 9 hours, you are required to take a 1-hour unpaid break. This break needs to be indicated on your timesheet. Again, if your break is not already indicated on the staffing sheet, talk to the classroom teachers you are with for the day to find the best time for your break. What you do and where you go on your break is up to you. We suggest you use this time to use the bathroom or refill your water bottle. If you have enough time to eat a snack or your lunch, you may use the microwave in the staff lounge. Please be aware that the staff lounge is not always available, as it is also used for meetings. We ask that you do not take your break in another classroom, regardless of if they are using it or not, and to please avoid walking through other classroom spaces while they are present. It is vital that you inform the teachers that you are leaving and that you return promptly when your break is over. The second clipboard is the staffing sheet. This sheet shows the location of everyone for the day and should be checked before you leave the office. The staffing sheet is grouped by classrooms. Within each class is a column for the aides and a column for each teacher labeled by their initials. Classroom interns are below their assigned classrooms. and aids for morning breaks and for shutting down are below that. After the classrooms, we have our floaters and kitchen staff, resource staff, and the administration. LOA marks staff who are out for part or all of the day. Floaters or aides who are not assigned to a specific classroom and our resource staff are placed as needed for each day. Aides who are absent are marked out, and if needed, a replacement is written in. Aides can be moved between different areas. The new location is written in the original location, and the aide's name is written in the new location. Teacher aides for staff AM breaks are indicated by time below the designated classrooms. Aides who are doing the AM breaks should inform the teachers when they arrive so that the teachers know they have coverage to leave. Aides assigned to shut down work as a team to move throughout the building, vacuuming, taking out trash, and closing classrooms. At the bottom of the staffing sheet, we write in any classroom events or learning trips, as well as any parent workshops. Our program cannot properly function without you. Therefore, it is imperative that you inform us if you are not able to come to work at your scheduled time. If you are not feeling well, please do not come to work. We ask that you call the office by 7:30 or as early as possible and leave a voicemail message stating your name and that you are ill. It doesn't matter what time your shift starts that day. We need to know before 7:30 so that we can make the necessary adjustments to the schedule to have adequate coverage in the classrooms. If you have projects or a family trip coming up, you can let us know in advance that you need to miss work. You can email me or just come talk to me. The sooner I know you can't work your shift, the sooner I can make arrangements to have someone else cover your shift if needed. Moving on to the CKey portal for your timesheets. This section applies to all paid teachers' aides and kitchen helpers. Log into the CKey portal, the same portal you use to apply for the job. Once logged in, you will see this page or something similar. You can use the link to see the current UH pay scale. All aides start at an A1 pay rate. Kitchen helpers start at an A2. On the left side panel, you can access the timesheet portal. This is the timesheet home page. You can create a new timesheet by selecting this option. Using the drop-down menu, you can select which pay period you want to work on. If the pay period you want is not there, you may have already created the timesheet. I'll go over how to access this later. If you see a grayed out area, those days are not part of the selected pay period. To input your time, click on the date you want to enter your time into. Input your start and end times using the drop-down menu. Please be aware of AM and PM times. If you do not have an unpaid break scheduled, you will just input your time into the first column. If you need to take an unpaid break, you will be using two of the columns. You will only input the times you get paid for. The missing time between the columns is your unpaid break. For example, this aide worked from 8 to 3 with a 30-minute unpaid break. You can see the first column goes from 8 to 12. The second column goes from 12:30 to 3. The aide took their unpaid break from 12 to 12:30. After you've entered your time, select Save and select the next date you'd like to input time into. It is not necessary to leave a note, but there is a space to do so if you choose. Once you've entered all of your times for the whole pay period, scroll down to the bottom. You have three options. Delete. If you've created the timesheet but then realize that you didn't actually work during this pay period, you can delete the timesheet. Save only. If it is before the end of the pay period and you just want to enter your time as you go, you can save only and you will still have access to it to keep editing. Submit to supervisor. Once you've entered all of your time for the period and it is after the end of your last shift for this period, you can submit your timesheet to supervisor. Once you select this option, you will not be able to edit your timesheet. Going back to the timesheet's main menu, you have access to the following in the quick view box. Newly created or saved timesheets that you haven't submitted. So after you've created the timesheet and entered some of your time, you didn't submit it, but you did save it. Awaiting your revisions are timesheets that you've submitted to supervisor and the supervisor has sent back to you to make changes. In the event that your timesheet is sent back to you, I will write a note on the timesheet telling you why it was returned. Maybe you forgot to put in your time on a few days, or you didn't indicate your unpaid breaks. The darker blue area are timesheets as they progress through the approval process. Historical is where you can find all of your old timesheets that have been approved. From the Timesheets main menu, you can create a work schedule. This is going to be your template for future timesheets. You enter your regularly scheduled times on this work schedule, and every time you create a new timesheet, it will self-populate the times for you. You will still need to edit your timesheets before submitting it for approval if there are any days that you called in sick or if there was a holiday. The question I get often asked is, when will I get paid? From the Timesheets main menu, you can view the pay period schedule. The schedule will break it down for you by period dates, the due dates for that pay period, the supervisor due dates for approvals, and the date that you will get paid. UH is on a perpetual pay lag. You don't get paid immediately after the period ends. If the period ends on the 15th, you get paid on the 5th of the following month. If the period ends on the last day of the month, you get paid on the 20th of the following month. So if you've just started, don't expect to get that paycheck right away. You will get paid for all of your work, just not immediately after the period ends. If you want to see when you will get paid for a specific pay period, go into Historical or Timesheet Search. At the top and the bottom of the timesheet, you can see when it was processed by payroll. For this example, the pay period is the second half of the month. All approvals were done on time. Payroll processed it on the 3rd. The payday is on the 20th of the following month. If you have any questions regarding anything covered in this video, please see me, Wendy Uemura. I am the office manager. I am your primary contact for paperwork related to your hiring as a teacher's aide, kitchen helper, and intern. I also oversee the main program calendar and daily staffing, as well as timesheet approvals. Although I have a hawaii.edu email, please refrain from using it. I am always available at the main UHMCC email, which is uhmcc@hawaii.edu.